Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting together tonight, if you read the thumbnail and the title, it might seem a little confusing, okay? And there's definitely a question in the title of the video and the thumbnail, which I will put together as I show some video footage here in order to get to the question, okay, that I want everybody to truly pay attention to, okay? And when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. I want everybody to have an open mind about this, and especially if anybody on the left watches this video, I want you to sit back and look at the information that I'm putting out, and I want you to start thinking about what I'm saying and ask the same question that I'm going to ask to see, okay, if something like this is possible. And when I mean something like this is possible, I'm talking about the question that I'm going to be asking, okay? But before I continue with any of this, I want to put out a couple of things. Number one, I want to put out an apology for the video that I put out last night. Some interesting things happened with that video since last night. First, I spoke out of line when I said about Kamala Harris standing in front of the presidential seal. I watched another video that was at a better angle, and it showed on the presidential seal, Vice President of the United States. Okay, so I'll apologize with that, saying that she was standing in front of the presidential seal. But I still stand on what I said about her coming out, okay, as the vice president to do a press conference, okay, or basically addressing the nation, okay, with the rhetoric that she put out last night. Okay, so I'll not apologize for that. I truly believe that what she did last night was way out of line. Okay, and so much that the left keeps talking about that Donald Trump and people on the right need to slow down the rhetoric, okay? They need to cool it down. Then my question is, then what's the excuse for Kamala Harris and everybody on the left to keep it up? Okay, that's number one. Number two, which I found very strange, okay, and I'm not going to say well, I did find some certain things strange that was eating at me, but I will admit, when I got up this morning, okay, while I was getting ready for work and stuff, and reminding myself, as soon as I get home, you make your video, say what you got to say your apology. Something was still bothering me about the statement that she put out last night, and it's been bothering me all day, okay, all day. And then all of a sudden, it just all started coming together, and it hit me, and I was like, there's no way what I'm thinking could be possible. There's no way what I'm thinking is something that is being concocted, okay, behind closed doors, and it's actually taken everybody for a ride. And when I mean everybody for a ride, it's taking everybody for a ride on both sides of the aisle. And I know you're probably thinking right now, what are you talking about? Stay with me. I'm going to put it all together, and I want everyone to just think about it. Now, a few things before I do, okay? Number one, I'm putting out a disclaimer right now. I am in no way, shape, or form trying to blow a dog whistle on this video. I am in no way, shape, or form trying to pass any disinformation, misinformation, for as much as I hate using those damn terms, because all it does is remind me of that nonsense coming out and being spewed out by the left, okay? I am in no way, shape, or form trying to accuse anybody, okay? I'm not some conspiracy theorist, okay? If anybody knows my channel and knows the content I put out, I'm the kind of person that thinks way outside the box. I've said it many a times, okay? sometimes I have to go down a rabbit hole and be like, wait a minute, something doesn't seem right. I need to go look and see what the deal is. And more times than none, I'm either right or I still have a lot more information that I need to look up, but I'm still on the right track. So looking at all that and thinking about all this, I was like, you know, this it's so in our faces that it's so close. How can I say? It's so close in front of our eyes that we're looking right through it without realizing what's in front of our eyes. Okay. So bear with me as I continue with this video. I'm going to explain it, and it, like I said, when I put it together this morning, throughout the day, I should say, that I really started thinking about it. The question I was thinking was, there's no way this is all being put together the way I'm thinking, because it just seems too plausible. And if it is, okay, we are in a lot more trouble than we think we are. Okay. Now, I'm not, like I said, the other disclaimer I want to put out, just so everybody knows, this is for entertainment purposes only. What you do with this information is up to you. Take it with a grain of salt, laugh about it, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to think. But I implore everybody, just sit back for a second, think about what I'm going to show you, and think about the questions I'm going to be asking, and then ask yourself, if you think yourself, okay, there's certain actors have it within them to make something like this happen. Okay, so I hope I explained enough, at least to get everybody on the right track as I go, and I hope you're still with me. Okay, I'm gonna play a couple of clips and point out what's bothering me. Okay, because this just seems too it just seems too blatant in our faces and disguised at the same time as something else that the powers that be, okay, that the Democrat Party or whoever's in charge, they don't want us to know. But one of my subscribers left a comment the other day, okay, and the comment was, for as much as I hate calling out the name, he said, the devil has to tell you what his next move is going to be, or something to that effect. Okay, so that's something that's been in my mind, and then thinking about everything today, I was like, wait a minute, can it be possible? Can it be possible that all this is coming together not for the benefit of the Republican Party and Republican voters, and definitely not for the benefit of the Democrat voters? Listen to what I just said. It's not for the benefit of the Republican Party and the Republican voters, and is not for the benefit of the Democrat voters. Keep that in mind. So with all that being said, let's check out some of these clips, and I'll put everything together. Here we go.
If you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, if anybody remembers, this was the debate. So you heard the rhetoric coming from Kamala. You see the way she is basically saying things about Trump, okay, all from hearsay, Okay, no documents, no text messages, no emails, just hearsay. She started. But here's the thing. All this rhetoric against Trump, that he's this, that he's Hitler, that he's an existential threat, that he's a racist, whatever the case is, this all started back in 2016. Fast forward, it's being amped up now more and more and more. Okay, so you heard this clip. Let's move on to the next one. Here we go. Okay, this clip that I'm going to show was part of the interview that Bret Baier did with Kamala Harris. Okay, I think it was over a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago. Listen to this.
50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you...
Okay, you heard what she said. He said, are you saying that 50% of the American people are stupid? And she said, no, she wouldn't say that about the American people. Okay? But, let me go back just a little bit so you can hear what she says about Trump.
The American people, and in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you...
I'm telling you, that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy.
Okay, I'm going to stop it real quick. So you heard her get defensive. You heard everything she said, that he talked about turning the military onto the American people. She used the word protesters. Okay? Stay with me, people. This is going to get interesting. Okay? You heard everything she said, word for word. You heard what Donald Trump said. I never said that. Has Donald Trump talked about the enemy within? Yes, he has talked about that. He has never once said anything about using the military against the American people. Okay? But she repeated it again, and she's saying it with anger in her voice, because she wants to keep pushing this rhetoric for people to keep believing, okay, that this is what Donald Trump is going to do. Now, please stay with me, because when I thought about this, like I said, I was thinking about it today. I was like, there's no way that this could possibly happen. But anything coming from the powers that be and the Democrats being their tools, trust me, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So, we're going to move. You already heard all this. Okay? We're going to move to the next clip. Here we go. Okay, now this is the clip from last night. Okay? Of the statement that she made in front of the White House. Now, before I start this, I just want to mention something right quick. The video that I put out last night got a lot of views, okay? But I got a notification, okay, when I got online today on YouTube, saying that I needed to, that I could not, the video cannot be monetized because the beginning segment of the video is copyrighted. Of course, that beginning segment of the video, I believe it was by CBS. So they wanted me to trim out the video, okay, that first piece. So if you're going to watch the video again, that first piece is going to be gone. I figure, you know what, it doesn't matter, because throughout the video, it's being showed again by, the other sources that I put into the video. okay, which one of them was from Fox and all that. But after doing all that, they still didn't monetize the video. Okay, so it's getting views and it's showing commercials, but it hasn't shown me any monetization, which I'm gonna have to get in contact with YouTube and find out, well, what happened. You told me to cut it out, but now I'm getting no monetization. But we'll see. It might be that I got no monetization since yesterday up until I clip it out, which is fine, no big deal, because it says that the copyright, that whoever owns the copyright, they will get the revenue. Whatever, I don't care. But I'm gonna play this piece, okay? Now, you already seen what she said in the last two videos, okay? We're gonna watch this again, what she says, and this is where it dawned on me, replaying this in my head this morning, okay, that I had to stop, and I was like, there's no way, because of something else that dawned on me. And like I said, everything I'm gonna show you, okay, so I hope you're still with me, okay, is the question, all right, that will this benefit everybody? And my answer came up with, it will not benefit the Republican Party or the Republican voters, and it definitely will not benefit the Democrat voters. So if any of you Democrats are watching this video, stay with me so I could explain this, and you will see what I'm talking about, because it's going to blow your mind, okay? And you, like I said, and you can leave in the comments if you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm doing this for entertainment purposes only. This is a what if question, okay? This is not a dog whistle. This is not to spread some fear, to, for people to, get up and start acting crazy. No. But it's a question that people need to ask. Because if I thought about it, and I'm like, I try to think rational, so nobody on any side of the spectrum gets hurt. I find it hard to believe that a lot of other people are not looking right through all this and asking the same question. So let's listen to what she has to say. Think about everything I've said so far. Here we go.
Said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States.
Okay, now you heard what she said, that this is all the hearsay that she's been told, and now she's putting this out last night to let everybody know that this is what Donald Trump wants. Stay with me.
In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens.
Okay, you see, she's repeating that again. He never said it, but she's repeating it. She's repeating it because, in my opinion, this is part of the setup. Okay? So start opening up your minds right now to understand where I'm coming from. This is part of the setup. Okay? Remember that.
And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within. Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify in his mind as the enemy within, like judges, like journalists, like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews.
Okay, now you've seen the look on her eyes when she said that. That is the look of a snake, of a sneering person when they're spreading a lie, okay, and that they're throwing it out where they want you to believe it because they think that's the hook. That's how they're going to get you. I'll play it again and look at the way she looks from underneath as she says it. Watch.
The man who's responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans.
I'm sorry, I went to, let me do it again.
Dangerous. That Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who's responsible.
Right there. Did you see that? The way she bobbed her head and looked up, her eyes from down up. The man who's responsible. That's the hook. Okay? Stay with me, people.
For the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans. All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is. From the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room. And it is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascists, who in fact vowed to be a dictator on day one and vowed to use the military as his personal militia.
Okay, now she's repeating again about that whole comment he made about being a dictator day one. Totally taken out of context, but she's going to keep using it. Okay? Saying that he's going to use the military, okay, against American people. This is the same fear campaign that they started putting in when he was running for president in 2016, that he was going to go out and start rounding up homosexuals, okay, that he was going to make everybody's life impossible, that he was going to destroy the country, that he was going to start wars, he was going to get America into wars. None of that happened, but they kept it. But now, this is Rhetoric 2.0. Now, I haven't got to the good stuff, what I'm talking about the question that people need to ask. I'm getting there, so bear with me. Let's continue.
To carry out his personal and political vendettas. Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and...
Oh, and one more thing. She said that to have his own personal militia. When has anybody ever heard of I don't even have to ask that question because everything she's saying is a flat out damn lie. We all know this. It's all a lie. Okay? It's all hearsay. Okay, supposedly it was told to them, and now they think that this constitutes her coming out, okay, onto the White House lawn and putting out a press briefing that's supposed to be out for the whole country to see. The only other thing she had to do, in all honesty, was them to just flood the airwaves and put an emergency alert and say this is an announcement from the Vice President of the United States, like they used to do. Okay? But they didn't. But anybody with a brain could read through this. This is exactly what she is trying to do. All based on lies. Okay? So let's listen to some more, and then I'm going to start going into, like I said, everything that's happening will not benefit the Republican voters, and it will not benefit Democrat voters. So if any of you Democrats are watching this, stay with me, and like I said, don't criticize, okay? Because if you criticize, that means you don't want to have an open mind. Just think about and put all this together, and then ask yourself, is it possible? Let's continue.
Unstable. And in a second term, people like John Kelly would not be there to be the guardrails against his propensities and his actions. Those who once tried to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses would no longer be there, and no longer be there to rein him in. So the bottom line is this. We know what Donald Trump wants. He wants unchecked power. The question in 13 days will be, what do the American people want? Thank you.
Okay, now you heard the garbage. Okay? Now, I want I'm going to mention two names, and I want everybody to keep those names in mind. Nancy Pelosi, okay, and the Speaker of the House, Johnson, I think it is, okay? Keep those two names in mind. Okay, now I'm going to play one last video clip, okay, and then I'm going to start putting it all together so everybody can see that, in my opinion, from my thumbnail and my title, I think this is all a setup. Here we go. Okay, now last week sometime I did a video about some information that Langley from Langley Outdoors put out. Okay, now I'm going to play it again. I'll let him do the talking so like that, you know, you guys can see where he's coming from. And this is where I'm going to put it all together, and I need people to, like I said, take this information the way you will. Okay? I'm not trying to say that this is exactly what's going to happen. But when I started thinking about everything, I was like, this could only, in my opinion, okay, in my world, in my opinion, okay, like I said, this is for entertainment purposes only, all right, if anybody knows where I'm coming from, I was like, is this possible? Is all this possible? Now, I know what you're thinking. You probably think that I'm going to play this and this is what I'm trying to get to. No, this is another piece of the puzzle that I'm going to use to put it all together, and you'll see where I'm coming from. Here we go.
Because I had a healthy dose of skepticism on this when it was given to me as a tip, but I looked into it. This is from Zero Hedge. U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil with a question mark. Okay, I'm intrigued. It's a question mark. Let me just walk you through, and then I'll show you the documents that I found, which are going to give you a little bit of a heebie-jeebie. Can be fair. Just ahead, intriguingly, of the November elections, the U.S. military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population in cases of national security emergencies. Okay, you have my attention. Let me show you through this highlighted point what they're accusing from this article, then I'll show you the documentation. This is actually all tying together in a not cute way, all right? Bear with me while I read this for you guys real quick. As the U.S. prepares for one of the most controversial and closely watched elections in its history, election time, you guys know that 3 weeks away, make sure you vote, a concerning update to DoD Directive 5240.01, remember that number, has been quietly put into effect. Reissued on September 27th, 2024, so a week ago, this directive governs the Department of Defense's intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances where assisting civilian law enforcement. While the directive forbids assassination, because that would be a step too far, it opens the door to lethal interventions under the national security conditions. The reissuance of the directive that numbered, while the update might seem routine, the changes regarding the use of lethal force in domestic operations are significant. This is the part that I had to check out for myself because I almost didn't believe it. In 2016 version, the directive primarily focused on intelligence collecting and ensuring civil liberties protections for U.S. persons. I like civil liberties. It emphasizes strict oversight and the need for authorization before collecting U.S. person information. So like, warrants and stuff. However, the 2024 version expands the military's role, particularly in assisting civil law enforcement, and authorizes lethal force under specific conditions, raising questions about its use during potential civil unrest surrounding the election. Okay, so what the Zero Head article here is referencing and accusing is that there's been language changes from the 2016 to the 2024 directive for the Department of Defense saying that now they can assist civilian police and they are authorized to use lethal force, and that's the change. Well, we're going to...
Okay, let me pause it real quick now. Okay? So you heard this much so far. Okay? If anybody remembers when, who was it in Chicago? I think it was Emanuel, the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, or something like that. Back in 2016, when Trump had offered help, okay, sending in the National Guard because there was so much crime and chaos, it was turned down. Okay, Trump was like, if we send in the National Guard, they can assist the police force and try to get control of all the chaos that's going on, all the crime, all the murders, the drugs and all that, gang activity. it was turned down. Okay, fine. Now, fast forward, okay, with a lot of things that have been going on, let's just use Texas for instance. Greg Abbott had to call in the National Guard and get help, okay, to secure the border. Okay, there's no secret that Donald Trump thinks highly of the military and has offered, okay, to put troops down at the border or whatever the case is in order to stop illegal migrants from coming in, and mostly to stop the terrorists, gang members, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, you name it. He doesn't want that kind of garbage in our country. Okay? So keep that in mind, that with all that, the Republicans know that, the Democrats know that. Okay? They both know it. They both know where he stands. But now the Democrats have been pushing this narrative, mostly Kamala, as her talking points, that Trump wants to use the military against American citizens, against the American people. She keeps repeating it, saying that he wants to be a dictator, that he wants to have his own militia, that he wants to destroy the enemy from within, which he does say that, and everybody knows that the enemy from within is what Trump is referring to, are the people that are trying to destroy this country from within. And I don't even have to explain any of that, because we all see where it's coming from. Okay? So now keep that in mind. Let's continue.
I'm going to jump over to the 2016 directive because it's all public record, and I want to make sure I show you guys this thoroughly. Again, everything's linked. I always bring receipts. As you can see, the DoD manual for 5240.01, that's the number that I was telling you to remember, procedures governing the conduct of DoD, Department of Defense, intelligence activities. And as you can see here, August 8th, 2016, cleared for public release. So this is all public information, all right? Now, a funny thing happens when I Command F this, okay? Watch this. Lethal force. There's nothing found, as you can see in the top of my browser. When I go over to 2024's version, DoD Directive 5240.01, same number. DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Again, September 27, 2024, cleared for public release. This is all public data. But when I go up here to this lethal force thing, the exact same thing I just did for you in 2016, look at that, one match. Yeah, bear with me. I'm gonna actually hide this so you guys don't get sick real quick. No, I'm not. I'm gonna keep it legit. Keep it 100. You'll have to get sick. Sorry, I gotta go down to page 12. I was gonna hide it, but that would make questions about the credibility of this. So as you can see, under 3.3 levels of authority, it's Secretary of Defense approval requirements. Okay, well that's an executive appointed position. Okay, let's get into this little.
Okay, you heard what he said. That's an executive appointed position, Secretary of Defense. Okay? Bear with me, people. This is where I'm going to start putting it together so you guys can see where I'm coming from. And like I said, this does not benefit the Republican Party, Republican voters, and Democrat voters. So I want all you Democrat voters to pay attention. Okay? I want everybody to pay attention. Let's go.
Okay, we got 1, 2, and then we got A through C. The Secretary of Defense may approve any type of requested permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2. The decision to approve requests for these types of permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2 to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities are reserved to the Secretary of Defense. And this is the part that gets the entire hackles up. Part C right here. I'm just going to highlight it really quickly for our review. Assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that the providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. Here we go, right here, listen to this part. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. Such use of force must be in accordance with the whole DoD thing, potentially as further restricted based on the specifics of the requested support. I'm going to undo this really quickly and do that last little important part right here. It includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups are reasonably anticipated. What do you think they're referencing right there? It has a 6 behind it. So now...
Okay, so you heard that. What are they anticipating? What is this anticipation to? Large gatherings, protest, things like that. Okay? So basically, now this is where I'm going to tie it all together. I want everybody to pay attention. I said in my video yesterday that Kamala Harris's numbers are tanking. Okay? We all know this. It's just that it's coming out more and more and more. Okay? They know this. Okay? These experts, they know since last year how everything's been going. They do whatever scientific studies on it. They run it through computers and all that, and they project, from this time to this time, if we don't do something fast, we are going to lose ground. Okay? So fast forward, here we are a few weeks ago. The Secretary of Defense decided to add this, okay, to the same, whatever this is, law or whatever this is, okay, that was the same in 2016, but now added this provision, or whatever you want to call it, that the Department of Defense has authorized itself to help out civilian police officers, okay, in a crisis, in a time like this. And not only that, but to use lethal force. Now this is where it gets good. This is the part that when I put it all together in my head, it blew my mind. Okay? Besides what happened at the Capitol, which we all know was a farce. Now bear with me, I told you people before, remember the name, Nancy Pelosi and Johnson. Okay, both Speakers of the House. What happened in January 6th, we all know because more testimonies coming out, that there were actors inside the crowd that was enticing people. Okay? And it got out of control. I don't have to explain the details, everybody knows what's been going on. Donald Trump had ordered, okay, on the 4th, I believe they said, 20,000 troops to come and protect the Capitol. Okay, National Guard. Nancy Pelosi, who's in charge of that because she is Speaker of the House, flat out said no. It went up and down the chain. A lot of people in law enforcement backed off. They were told no. That's why everything got out of control. There was no presence there of a military force in order to keep people back. And it wasn't to keep the Donald Trump protesters back. Okay? They didn't send them because they knew there was going to be certain actors in the crowd that they didn't want to keep back. Because the result that they wanted is what unfolded. Okay? So now this is where it blew my mind. They go and they pass this, okay, a few weeks ago. The election's coming up. I want everybody to pay attention. Like I said, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is what's going on in my mind. Okay, I'm not trying to blow a dog whistle. I'm not trying to get anybody out there scared or start panicking or anything like that. No, this is not for that. This is so people can sit back and start thinking and say, wait a minute, is it possible that all this that's happening is for something that's going to be set up? Okay? So now, besides what happened at the Capitol, has anybody else seen, okay, protests of Trump supporters out in the United States, okay, causing havoc? The answer to that is no. Straight up, no. Okay? But what have we seen? We've seen a lot of protests. As a matter of fact, probably every single protest, okay, that has cost people their lives, that has caused billions of dollars in damages. I mean, just disrupted neighborhoods in small towns and cities by the left. Call out whoever you want. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the protest with what's going on with the pro-Palestinian protests, whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. But that's all coming from the left. Okay? So, since the Democrats know, let me backtrack a little bit. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, she was given the authority in order to call in the National Guard. She denied it, said no, but with everything that happened, the farce, it was all blamed on Trump. And it's still being blamed on Trump. And the news media and people on the left are still saying that Trump was telling his supporters to basically go down and start a ruckus, and that's not it. They keep editing that video, and that is not the case. That is not true. Okay? So they did all that to make the Republicans and Trump look bad. Now here we are. Kamala Harris's numbers are tanking. They know that if Trump doesn't win, nobody's going to be his supporters on the right are not going to be out there protesting and causing damage. They know this. They totally know this. Because it didn't happen before. It hasn't happened since. Why would it happen now? Okay? Stay with me. But this is the twist. Since they passed this law, or whatever it is that they passed, now it gives authority, okay, for certain groups and individuals to go and assist other groups and individuals, and if they deem it fit, to open fire on civilians. What has Kamala Harris been saying? Donald Trump wants to open fire, basically wants to turn the military onto civilians, onto Americans. But that's not the case. Okay? Since she knows that her numbers are tanking, since the Democrats know their numbers are tanking, this is my world. This is what I'm putting together. They put this into place because they know that when Trump wins, he cannot make no decisions, make no laws until he's sworn in. Okay? But come election day, when he wins, who's going to be out there rioting? That's right. People on the left. Because Trump supporters are going to be out there having fun, partying, having a good time. They're going to be home. But it's people on the left, the ones that are going to get riled up, are going to go out there and start the protest and the chaos all over again. This is where the big twist comes in. Since Trump is not president, okay, there's nothing he can say or do to make these certain individuals stand down. He can't. So they go out there and send them, whoever it is, just saying, you guys fill in the blanks. Speaker Mike Johnson, okay, for all intents and purposes says, you know what? We can't have this civil unrest, especially at the Capitol. Send in the National Guard to calm everybody down. But the decision has already come from the DOD. You see where I'm going with this? Trump can't stop the DOD. Mike Johnson can't stop them. So now when this happens, and I pray to God in heaven above that it doesn't, somebody gets a little trigger happy and opens fire on the left protesters. Protesters from the left. And then the Democrats come out and say, you see, The Republicans own this. Mike Johnson called in the National Guard. Oh, people. So what does that mean? It makes Mike Johnson look bad. It makes Donald Trump look bad, because there will be so much going on until he's sworn in. They'll basically make it seem like, once again, the Republicans did this. The Republicans were the ones that called in the National Guard to quell everything down. They did this to you. Somebody told me I'm thinking way outside the box and my mind is all screwed up. Tell me that doesn't seem like something possible. Because Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC, everybody, and the Rhino Republicans blame Trump for what happened at the Capitol. But Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House that did not let the National Guard come in, because had she did, they would have listened to the Commander-in-Chief and said, you know what, let's keep everybody down. We are not allowed to draw weapons, nothing like that. And we all know this to be true, because the videos that they have been showing at the border with the National Guard, they haven't shown the National Guard shooting at the migrants. No, they've just been showing them using their bare hands, okay, to keep them back. But now this comes in, this little piece right here that Langley just talked about, that now they can use lethal force. But now Speaker Johnson is a Republican. He's in charge of calling in the National Guard. Somebody gets trigger happy, or somebody is told from, I don't know, maybe a higher up, okay, protect yourselves in the Capitol at all cost. And then when the smoke settles, who made the call? The Republican Speaker Mike Johnson. He's a Trump supporter. You see, you can't trust Trump. You can't trust the Republicans. You can't trust Mike Johnson. You could trust us. We didn't want this. Think about that, people. I'm telling you, and here's another thing. That if it doesn't turn out like that, it turns out that Kamala wins, okay, it still doesn't benefit Republican voters. Because some will be upset, and if the National Guard or whoever has to be called in, same thing's going to happen. But I'm willing to bet more that this was not meant for what they're saying it is. I'm willing to bet that since they knew that the numbers were tanking for Kamala, Trump is gaining in steam, that he's going to be the next president, let's set something up that it will backfire and make it seem as if it's all the Republicans' fault. You know, Trump was right once again when he said that the Democrats are not stupid. He said they're very smart. He didn't mean that in a good way. Okay? A person that runs a criminal organization for, let's say, 50 years and doesn't get caught is a smart person. Doing bad deeds, but is a smart person. Never gets caught. See what I'm saying? See the analogy, what I'm talking about here? That's what Trump was talking about. And he's also said they're vicious. Okay? If anybody thinks for a hot minute, and I'm not going to use the Democrats, but if anybody thinks that any government on this planet that has a wicked agenda will not take it out on their own people, their own voters, in order to keep their agenda, you are sadly mistaken. We hear it all the time from different places all around the world. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's in the Middle East, in Europe, it doesn't matter. They will take it out on their own and spin it around pretending that it was the other party just so they can stay in power. I mean, look, like I said, take this information for what it is. Like I said, I'm putting this out there for entertainment purposes. You know, anybody can look at this and say, well, maybe he's talking about a sci-fi book. Think about it what you want. Maybe it's a science fiction novel I'm setting up for, or, you know, some I don't know, just whatever, a movie, TV show, cartoon, whatever. Maybe it's a bad dream I had. I don't know. I'm not trying to blow a dog whistle here. I am not trying to put fear into people. I am not trying to set something off to make people go out there and take revenge. No, that is not what I'm all about. I am totally against wars. I am totally against people, you know, on either side being hurt. I've said it once. I said it again. I'll always say it. Life is precious. Okay? In fact, I wish that more people on the left will wake up and start realizing, okay, that the things that are being implemented don't benefit everybody as a whole and will only benefit their side but for a small period of time until it's taken away from them. I wish they would understand that. I wish that so many people on the left that have influence would stop feeding this garbage about that Donald Trump is an existential threat, that he wants to turn the military on American civilians, on his own people, that he wants to have his own militia, that he wants generals and commanders to be like Hitler. I mean, all this garbage, it goes on and on and on. But yet, under Biden's watch, okay, like Langley said, the Secretary of Defense is an executive position. Basically, I'm assuming what he's saying, I'm going to play stupid here, is that Biden chose the Secretary of Defense, okay, gave him the position, whoever that may be, and then all of a sudden took something that was pretty much on point back in 2016. They just rewrote it, but they just added this to it right before one of the biggest elections of our country, and all the rhetoric has been that Donald Trump wants to turn the military onto civilians, and then make it seem that he wants to turn the military onto, basically what she's saying, people on the left. If you knew this, and if you believe this to be true, why would you let this happen? This is basically giving him ammo. Why would you do this? I have to think that it's a setup. That's all I could think of. And I hope, and I pray to God that I'm wrong. Okay? Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The video goes away, whatever. If I gotta delete it, I'll delete it. I don't care. It don't bother me none. I mean, hey, I'd rather it not be either way, against anybody on the left or anybody on the right, because that is not going to help this country. But there's always that but factor. What if? Or you know what? That's just too coincidental. Use any phrase you want. I thought about this today, and I'm like, man, none of this makes sense. And it was because just the ringing. And I'll say a little secret. Okay? I don't know why. Oh, why? Okay? I got up this morning, and my video from last night was the first thing on my mind. And it wasn't because I had to, that I was going to put out, my statement about me basically putting out some bad information last night, that didn't bother me because I already knew it don't matter to me. I'm just gonna go and say the truth. I stand corrected and that's it. I have no shame in that. But it was just something that was just eating at me, and I'm like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And it just kept ringing in my ear every time she kept talking about. I shouldn't say that she kept talking about it. It just kept ringing in my ear, hearing her say over and over again about Trump and the military, Trump and the military, Trump and the military, going after Americans, fighting the threat from within. And then all the videos I've been putting out, everything I've been seeing, just started bombarding my head, and I was like, wait a minute, this can't be. It can't be. It's almost so in our faces that it just seems unreal. But if you look at everything, you have to start questioning. If they think that Trump is an existential threat, and they know that at some point he can possibly be the president of the United States, why would they put like I said, I don't know if you call this a provision or whatever, into a document if you know that he's going to be in charge and above the military? Remember, he is the commander-in-chief. Why would they do that? Because they could have easily not done it, and if he became president, okay, somebody could get in his ear and ask him to do it, and he would have said, no, I'm not going to do it. Or he would have said, yeah. They could have used it against him. They could have put it in his ear. He would have said yes. They could have set something up. They said, see, and got him there. But something tells me that's not what they wanted. They were thinking long term and say, you know what? This is something that can basically, and like I said, God forbid, if it happened, could basically destroy the Republican Party for a very long time. Just saying, these are my thoughts. Not saying it's true. I'm not saying any of this is true. This is just me putting out my thoughts, my opinions. Everybody else, do what you will with this information, I guess. Think it through. Sit back. Do some more research. It's not that hard to find. It's not a lot of research. Most of the research you're going to do in your head. It's called common sense. It's called thinking outside the box. It's called what about the what-ifisms, or whatever they want, how they phrase it. Should it make you scared? No. Not in my opinion. Should it make you stand a little more vigilant? Absolutely. Be a little more open-minded? Absolutely. Okay? Because I don't put anything past anybody that has a wicked agenda. I just don't. Because wicked is wicked at the end of the day, and that's it. By hook or by crook, by any means necessary, if a thief wants to break into that bank, they will find a way to break into that bank. It doesn't matter how much security. Okay? They will find a way in to get what they want from that bank. So use that analogy on a bigger scale. That's all I'm saying. Okay? But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also leaving a link to the Loza Alexander Gifts and Go campaign that he has going on. And if you guys can help him in any way, please do so, even if it's just with words of encouragement and prayer. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.